conference, Affordable Housing for All, redefining the roles of public and private sectors. How this theme relates to Albania, but also for the other member participating countries.
In fact, since 2011, the world is not the same anymore. Things have changed. We have entered in another phase of development. Some call it crisis, some call it opportunity for change, for improvement. Important is that there is something that is unknown for us. And this causes a little bit curiosity, hope, but also fears. The point is that we don't know how to solve it. When I talk about this context, I mean something is changing in the life of society and people, daily life of the people. So in order to be able to read this context and to analyze, I mean, everybody, all professions have to focus on their own contribution. Experts of housing also can play a contribution. Why? Because housing is an important institution where people have not just a shelter, but they recover, they build social life, they become more normal citizens to interact within the family, with themselves, with society, and then more with institutions. And beyond the house is the services, infrastructures, is the context, relation with community, with the life. We want communities and people to be positive, constructive. We want them to be happy. We want them to have a better economy, a better life. But reality is different. And in order to deal with this new reality, we cannot continue anymore with traditional concepts. We need to start from reforming ourselves. So that's why we decided to go in this discussion of ENHR conference, Housing for All, with the idea that we should see housing as a place which is a human right for all. But from the other side, we should make all people to have a house where you feel comfortable, you feel with dignity, you feel part of community and society, and instead of terrorism, instead of conflict, instead of poverty, we have a society which is more normal. I think that's the direction that we should move, and that's the role that experts, professionals, academics should play. They cannot be any more neutral somehow politically or professionally or intellectually in this context. They should act, they should be activists. They should play a role in order that society becomes better, because they are part of society also. Otherwise, we have to expect that society one day will ignore us, and that's not the best alternative.
Professor Aliaj, we saw a great number of participants in the conference. Which are your impressions from the conference, and are you satisfied with the outcome?
Yes, ENHR has the so-called small conferences and big congresses they organize every year. This is in the category of the small, medium conferences, but it's one of the biggest ones. It turned out a success. More than 300 people participated from all over Europe, even from some other countries beyond Europe. There were people also from Albania. I'm very happy about that. Housing and the boom of housing here in Albania during this year has been one of the main issues. Some of them has been out of the so-called control of the state apparatus or private, formal private sector. We have a boom also of informality. We need now, we have entered in reforms of formalization. We need to improve the existing communities. We need to integrate them. We need to improve services in the same time. Problems are complex. So we see this relation of this European context conference with the local context as something that they serve to each other. So Tirana, Albania is a kind of very creative, dynamic laboratory of housing and urban development. But from the other side, this context needs also case studies, examples, not to do, what not to do and what to do. Best practices, for example, etc. So the idea is that by merging all together, we want to create a context where there is mutual benefit and outcome is positive for both sides, a local and global regional context. In this aspect, conference was broad in participation. There were a lot, 22 workshops, 6 site visits, there were 6 plenary sessions, a lot of discussion from big scale to small scale, from European, of north, south, in terms of financing, in terms of social aspect, in terms of techniques and technologies of construction. So it was a multidimensional discussion, and I believe that it will be very useful to go further with the scientific and academic agenda in Europe with respect to housing and urban development, but from the other side, it would be very useful for the city of Tirana. That's why we had a very active participation of Albanian institutions, where municipality of Tirana, specifically, that has been very active now in transformation of the city, was quite interested to participate in the conference, to meet the key actors of the conference, or to play a role in designing the site visits where they need assistance and ideas for transformation.
Okay, thank you.